questions to keep myself aligned. Waste away the hours doing what I should.
Hi, I'm Ayse Hogan, and welcome to Reflections. Today, my co-host is with me, Kelly Bentley, and we have Willis Yaccabucci. We also have Nicole Sugihara that's joining us from Utah via Skype. Hi, Nicole.
Hello, everybody. How are we?
Good. We're great. How are we?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Today, our show is about how to be Hypno-Fit. So we're going to be talking about fitness, training, hypnosis, and trainers and past issues and all of that and how it all ties together so that you can actually be the best you and how to get there.
In 30 minutes.
In 30 minutes. And then in 30 minutes, you're going to be in the best shape you've ever been in. So you are getting sleepy. No, okay. So Willis, you do a lot of this.
Yes, I do. I do work with trainers to help anchor them, and it's usually in the venue of weight loss.
So let's talk about anchoring first. I think that's something that people won't understand what that means.
Okay, that means learning how to have fun in something that might be a little bit scary for you, and how to develop an emotional attachment to it, because I'd like to say it, Lord, we are all emotional creatures, and if you're not having fun, you're not going to keep doing it.
That's right.
You know?
So anchoring is a way that I do it too. So anchoring is a way to attach them to a feeling, a sensation.
Exactly.
Okay. So do you find, Nicole, that when you're training people that you are hitting roadblocks that really are beyond your control?
Well, yeah, because I don't live inside of their being. So, of course, they have their own roadblocks that I can help them work through and, get them to, in essence, anchor into a different place, as in, a better place of health and wellness, and mindset really is what it comes down to generally, is a place of mindset that is a roadblock for them.
But there's not a lot of trainers that have the training in that mindset that you have and that Kelly has. I mean, generally speaking, a lot of trainers don't have that training, right? So they're learning kinesiology, they're learning how to train, but they're not really learning about the mind.
Yeah.
So they may be having issues that they're not even aware of how to deal with. So I think it's really nice that we're doing this show so that we can actually talk about their options and things that they can actually present to their clients and say, hey, maybe you should see someone like this, like someone who does some mindset work or someone who does some hypnosis, and here's why.
Exactly. It's so important to get into this emotional state. I mean, you have to get in there and tweak it, because otherwise you would be fit. Otherwise, you would be the appropriate weight, whether it be up or down.
Right, and
not just one or the other.
And dealing with triggers.
Yes.
Exactly.
Because sometimes people have low self-esteem from something going back many years, and helping them deal with it. Maybe they were abused as children. Maybe they've always been told how they're not good enough. Maybe it's a lot of different things like that. Maybe there was some severe trauma in their life. So it has nothing to do with the fact that they want to get in shape.
Exactly.
The want is there. They just can't make themselves do it.
And a lot of times, I've even run into clients and myself in the past where there's an issue, but you have no idea where it's from. And that's another great thing about hypnosis. Like, people that have these blockages, they might have they know it's there. They know there's something blocking them from achieving their desired outcome, but don't know what it is.
Time and time again, that's ever so true. A simple regression and a simple identification usually is all that's needed. And believe me, everybody thinks it's this great issue, but sometimes it's simply the teacher saying, hey, you're just not smart. You're just not with it. And it just ingrains in you.
One tiny moment.
And that's true. Like, what they think is like everything has to be traumatic. Like, I didn't grow up with, they might think that they've never grown up a dysfunctional past, or that they've never been beaten, or they've never been thrown out of their house or whatever. So I didn't go through anything. But meanwhile, they were just at a high school dance or something, or someone told them that they weren't attractive, and that was it for them. Like that was their trauma level.
Yeah.
For them.
Yeah.
It seems small to some of us, and maybe that was it. That was their tolerance level. That's all they could take.
Yeah.
It's the old situation. 1,000 attaboys it takes to compensate for one. Hey, you just didn't do it right. Oh, it just isn't good enough.
That's right.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with it, Nicole?
When I'm dealing with people, usually what I notice and what I've noticed within my own self is there's always a pretty specific pattern of negative self-talk that happens.
Yeah.
And so one of the first things that I do with my clients is I always work with them with that specific, they start tracking it, and I have them, either write down those thoughts that are continually going across their mind, because most people have these it's like an undercurrent that's happening that they don't even recognize running the show, first of all. So you have to take their awareness into that place of, hey y'all, guess what? This is actually, defeating you without you even knowing that it is.
Right.
And so I'll have them track those thoughts, and I'll just have them like on a check mark on a little piece of paper or in their phone or whatever, just marking them so that they're first noticing how often it's happening, and then also how many times in a day they're actually thinking negative things about other people. And then once they actually start kind of, I have them do that for a day or two, because usually they like start freaking out after a day and they're like, I just can't take it anymore. This is crazy. I cannot believe this. But it's just to heighten their awareness that it's actually happening. And then I'll say, okay, what theme is actually consistently running through that? And sometimes they don't know, but I'll work with them to figure out what the underlying theme is. And there's usually, something in the category of, I'm not worthy, I'm not worth it, I'm not good enough, something in the I'm not enough category is usually almost running the show in some level. And then starting to heighten that awareness. And oftentimes what they are thinking about themselves is also what they're thinking about other people.
Right.
So if they can't quite tell what they are thinking about their own selves, we'll look at what the thoughts are that they're thinking about other people. And there's usually that common thread, like always.
Right.
And so, and then we'll start working on breaking it down from there.
That's good.
Yeah. So I mean, you're very fortunate to be able to train people and still have this added bonus of being able to work with them with their energy and with their mindset.
Absolutely.
I never take that for granted.
Yeah, no, it's a nice complete, a complete function.
Yeah.
A complete way to help people.
Holistic.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just to add on to that, a wonderful mentor of mine from Windsor, his whole outlook is 3 simple things: positive self-thought, the unconscious mind is always looking in; positive self-talk, even if in jest, the unconscious mind doesn't know the difference; and positive environment, being with successful people, being with fit people, being with healthy people. All of a sudden, you're part of a group. It's so much easier to be successful.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because the subconscious mind sometimes only hears fragments of what we're saying. So it's like, you might say, God, it's so hard for me to get in shape. Or I'm never going to get in shape. Or really you're putting it out there like, I'm never going to get in shape. It's about some frustration. Meanwhile, all that's hearing is never get in shape.
And your metabolism is slowing down from those thoughts. It's incredible. And like what you were saying, Nicole, is people they're not even aware that they have this pattern continuously going in their heads.
And I tell people too, like, rewind. Like that inner thought that you had, if it came out the wrong way, like, I'm never going to get in shape. Okay, we've realized that that's not the way to say this.
Right.
Right? So you're seeing yourself from the end where you are in shape and you look great and you're very beautiful, and saying that. And they go, but when you've said it, because, it's habit, right? So we say things a certain way. And then say, you know what? That's not what I meant to say. Rewind. Say it again. And if it's still not right, rewind. Say it again. And this time you might have to rewind 15 times, and the next time it might only be 10 times, and the next time 5, until you're starting to say it right all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes it's even baby steps of changing the vocabulary. Like, okay, well, right now I'm not in the shape that I would like to be, and sometimes with clients that are having a more difficult issue with the mind is just baby steps and just change a little bit until finally it's the proper statement that they can actually latch onto and believe in.
And they have to be careful with that too, because even when you say soon, has no
That's
idea what
subjective.
is soon.
Yeah,
what is soon? Is soon
Yeah.
like tomorrow? Is soon like 15 years from now? Like when is soon? So
Yeah.
you have to be. You really do need to be very clear,
Yeah.
but on a very positive level, with not any negative connotations on that. And it takes people time to do that because we always want to speak in a very negative way.
Yeah.
It seems like the first step, even before we get to the trainers, it seems like for the people that I work with, they have to learn how to love themselves, first of all. And as soon as you can develop that image of yourself, your body follows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter. I mean, you can be fantastic, but if your mind doesn't see that,
It's
How are you
seeing
gonna
it's
get
seeing you
there?
as the before picture, even though you may actually be the after.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're still seeing yourself as the before.
Yeah.
so you can't sustain it.
Right.
Yeah.
And that can take a long time
Yes.
to get somebody to the place. I mean, and that's my base of everything that I do with all my clients. It's really that base of self-love. But that process can take, it can take a long time because of so many things that we've experienced and so many beliefs that we may hold. I mean, first of all, that we don't even know that we have, but secondly, that we know that we have.
And it
then-
actually, I have to disagree with you there. So it doesn't
Yes.
really take that long if you have the right collaboration of people. So, for instance, I'm working now with trainers where they have no idea about the stuff that I do, but now they understand it. So when they're having issues with these clients, they come to me, and in less than 5 or 10 sessions, depending on the person, it's done. So it can be a very quick fix.
It can take a while and it can be quick. I think it just depends on
Well, here's the thing. It has to depend on the person
Yeah.
wanting it.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely.
That is the
Absolutely.
really key recipe.
Yes.
Is that forget what I'm doing, and that's one of the things that I say during the consultations too. I'm going to do what I'm going to do to work with you. Here's what I need you to do. Want it. You have to
Absolutely.
want it. That is your job.
And do
Your
they-
job is to want it.
Part of mine and Nicole's training that we did together was, do they actually know what they want?
They don't have to know. They only have to know that they want to get better. They
well,
only
yeah,
have to
yeah.
know that they don't want to feel this way anymore. That's really all they have to want. Do they need to know the specifics and the details? I say no. They don't need to know the specifics and the details. They just need to know that they want to get better. Beyond that, we're going to work through the rest of it. As long
It
as
will
they're
come, yeah.
they're open and want it,
Yeah.
that's all that we need.
Yeah, it's ironic you say that. Being a formal martial artist, I used to train people. And what took me 6 months to a year, mindset-wise, I can now accomplish in 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Develop the same mindset.
Yep.
So using the appropriate tools, and as long as the person wants it,
Yes.
which is the key, it can be really fast. Even myself, I'm flabbergasted when it occurs.
It can happen faster than you think. And
Yes.
it's not about need either. It's not I need this. It's I want this.
Yes.
Right? So some things are need, shelter, water, that type of things are need. This is you have to want this. You can't be desperate. You have to just, be like, I want this. I want this for myself. I want to become better, whatever that means. Right?
And it has to be fun.
Yes.
Yes.
It
has to be enjoyable.
be fun. And this is where the anchoring comes in. That going out there and having those stiff muscles and having to breathe so heavy and getting the endorphin rush, which is just so good. It feels so good.
Simmer down now. Simmer down.
I'm rather passionate.
I'm so glad to have connections
You know?
in hypnotherapy because for me, if I was helping a client on my own, it would take longer because I don't have that aspect of being able to go into their subconscious and, I think that's a much quicker
It
approach.
is because,
much quicker.
you can still do it. It just is, yeah, it's going to take you longer.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Where, you know, we've had that training, and it would take me longer to probably get somebody into shape. So, I mean, we all have our fortes
Symbiotic.
and what we do. And that's why I think it's really important to have that collaboration to be HypnoFit, or even to be where someone might be dealing with an illness or whatever it is that they're dealing with. It's always nice to have a great team of people.
Yes.
Exactly.
Where you're working together for that person's highest and best good.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, this is so important. You're hitting an incredibly important aspect, because you get a person to lose weight, it is actually quite easy to do with hypnosis. But they have to exercise to maintain their body mass.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they get hurt doing simple things.
And they can lose weight, but how about getting some nice lean muscle? You need to be able to train for that, right? Like, I can't do that through hypnosis.
No.
Yeah.
You know, you've got a six-pack. I'd be telling that to myself every day. Self-hypnosis, six-pack.
I love myself.
But it isn't just that. It is actually to the point of a safety situation.
Yeah.
Again, as a former martial artist, I had a lot of people come in after being on this fantastic diet, and the first exercise they do, they get hurt.
Yeah.
Because they only took one aspect.
Yeah.
Only one aspect.
Holistic approach.
Yep.
Yep.
That's what I keep telling people that say, oh, holistic is all natural. Not necessarily. Holistic just means characterizing all parts of a person as a whole. There's so many aspects. Yeah.
And it's true. I think that a lot of people, when they think about holistic, they think about somebody sitting on a mountain meditating, and it's so much more than that.
It's so much more.
It's so much more than that. So it's everything: mind, body, spirit.
yeah.
You know, energy. It's all of those things together.
Yeah.
And I think that when one of us try to do it all alone, we're
It's-
actually doing our client a disservice.
Yeah. Yeah. And ourselves in the long run as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I've started working with some people now where I'm with trainers. So their trainers had no idea about the holistic aspect of anything, you know. And so when I approached them and I started talking to them, and then they sent a few people to me, it's like, oh my God, they're finally losing the weight. They're actually doing what I'm asking them to do.
Yeah.
What are you doing with them? I go, well, I can't really tell you what I'm doing with them, but because it's confidential.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that person who's sitting in the chair with, you know, next to me is feeling good now, because we've actually released other things besides weight.
Yeah.
We've released their emotions. We've released the trauma that they've been holding on to. We've released, you know, any kind of energy blocks and stuff. And all of a sudden they feel a space inside that they didn't have before. It's like this unfamiliar area that feels familiar because it's home. But at the same time, it's like, wow, I got moving here, right? So it's just all of a sudden that soul has space.
Yeah.
And when it has that, it's able to do the work that you guys bring in, right?
Yeah. We need the space.
So send your clients over here to Burlington,
Canada.
Ontario.
No problem. I'll just put them on an airplane. No, I think it's important though to, you know, for our clients to understand whatever, you know, facet that they're working with and on, that it is a process, and to honor whatever that process looks like. And, you know, to know that it takes whatever it takes. And I think it's just unlayering different pieces. And so when, you know, I mentioned it can sometimes take a while, it's from the different layers, you know, like it can, maybe somebody gets to some place quicker physically because their body is just really ready, but maybe it takes a little bit longer for those emotional layers to unravel a little bit more, or maybe the spiritual layers to unravel a little bit more. And it's just a process. And so to honor wherever they're at, and to, you know, enjoy that process with them, because you know, it's awesome and it's really
It's
fun.
good.
It's
I
also
love that
super
you
fun.
touched on that.
Yeah, and we just have to be like, the only
It
thing is we
can
have to
be
be careful
enjoyable.
as we start, you know, ripping back the layers of the onion, because
Exactly.
we don't know what that person has gone through.
Right.
That's right.
Right? So what they've gone through in their past could be quite traumatic.
Yeah.
What they've gone through, maybe they've even, like, to the point where they don't even remember because they've blocked it.
Possible,
So
yeah.
now all of a sudden we're, you know, it's coming undone. And if somebody isn't there to help them through that,
Yeah.
it could be actually catastrophic.
That's another thing about holistic therapy is you go along the person's journey with them.
Right.
There's nothing that any of us do is one of those, here you go, and good luck. Like, we're there with
Yep.
everyone all the way.
So you just have to, when you're, the process is great for a lot of people, for the majority, but let's face it. When people say, I just want a normal family and a normal life, like, what is that? Everyone's life is dysfunctional. The Brady Bunch doesn't exist, okay? Like, so at the end of the day,
Who wants that? I don't.
at the end of the day,
That's
we've all gone
boring.
through some kind of dysfunction, and our tolerance levels are different too, right?
Yeah, that's
so
true.
what you might be able to put up with might be, like, I can put up with like maybe this much because of what I've gone through in my life.
And triggers.
Right, and triggers, and
Yeah.
maybe your tolerance level is lower than mine.
Yeah.
So you might get upset about something where I'm like, "Pff,"
Yeah.
because my tolerance level's way up here because I've been through so much more. So we have to be really careful when we're working with people because we don't know what they've been through, and maybe in some cases they don't know either.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
So it's just being able to help them through that and then being prepared. There's been times where I've been shocked in here. Like, I'll be working with someone thinking I've got a whole idea of the picture, and all of a sudden we've worked on something and then they start getting like very emotional. I'm like,
Yeah.
what's happened? And it was a whole thing they didn't even tell me about.
Yeah.
Right. And that not only did they not tell me, they were not even aware that it had this kind of effect on them.
Yeah.
Right. So you just have to be ready for anything when you're working with this stuff. Like, you have to be ready. It's like, like a back catcher. You just got to kind of be ready for anything that's coming.
Do you know what's even more dramatic is I actually warn my groups when I do group sessions that if somebody breaks down laughing or somebody breaks down crying while we're going through this, don't be alarmed. It's just a release.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
And you then go over there and help them through it.
Right.
I've seen people bawling their eyes out. What's wrong? Nothing. And they're just okay.
They're just letting
it's
it
just
go.
energy.
They're just letting it go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to be HypnoFit, I think, is just sort of being able to not only be fit physically, but also mentally.
Yes.
And in your energy.
Yeah.
And I try and stay away from the word spiritually a lot of the times, only because it's a good word for me.
Yeah.
I am a reverend and I am spiritual. So it's like, so it is a good word for me. However, a lot of people don't really, it's just really, we're talking about the energy.
Yeah.
Right? We're talking about that energy.
Yeah.
And that, I think, then you're sort of that HypnoFit, like you are fit at that point when you've sort of dealt with all of those pieces.
Yep.
And you're ready to move forward and get your six pack or just be in the shape that you want to be in, the best you that you want to be in.
And if your mind is not right, and your body will never be as optimally healthy as it could be, and vice versa. It's mind-body connection is so huge.
Yep.
Yes. That's a lot of people struggle with that, not realizing that it is so hooked together.
Yeah.
It's really
amazing.
weird.
Well, because
even myself.
they deal with one aspect. If you don't
Yeah.
deal with all three, then you're putting a Band-Aid on it.
Yeah.
Well, there's no sustainable success.
That's
Right.
true. Yeah.
Sustainable success is what you're after.
Yeah.
That whatever you're doing now, it's got to be for the rest of your life.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anything to add, my dear? Because we have to bring this to a close, and we'll let you say the last word.
No pressure.
Pressure, no pressure.
No, it's cool. I think that just to wrap up, kind of that little piece there that's one of my three guiding questions that I've learned to ask myself, and also that I share with my clients on a regular basis is, does this create sustainable vitality in my life? Is this me getting closer to my dreams? And is this me showing me love? And those are the three most, I think, for me, the three most important questions to be able to increase our self-love awareness, because I believe it's a process. It's short, long, whatever, but in every one of those layers, it can
Yep.
take a little while, and just to honor that process. And so every day, those are the questions that I ask myself, and those are the questions that I have my clients check in with themselves if those work for them.
Those are awesome questions.
Awesome
Awesome.
questions.
Those are great. Well, thank you so much for watching. Again, it just goes so fast. I can't believe it. Thank you, Nicole from Utah.
Yes, thanks so much
Thanks,
for
Willis.
coming out.
It's been a lot of fun. If you have any questions, if you have any topic ideas, if you want to know more, if you want to contact us, you can contact us. It will be in the credits. We are on the 365 network, all of our social media. we're around.
We're
So,
around. You'll find
yeah.
us. We're going to be everywhere.
Tune in next time. Good stuff coming up. Thanks. Have an awesome day.
Bye.
Bye.
I'm shedding all the crap right now.